Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River pianos, vinyl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain.
Her voice has mesmerized us for years.
And now, in a rare treat for music fans,
Shakuntala and Friends in concert, featuring Shakuntala Jang Bahadur. Singing sensation Nepal Chaitlal, brilliant musician Dr. Shivanan Maharaj, master flautist and saxophonist Narendra Maharaj, with music from Shiv Sangeet Orchestra, Shakuntala and Friends in concert.
Shakuntala, Tala.
WESN.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. Thanks for staying with us here at WESN. In this edition of the program, we return to a matter that we talked about a couple of months ago. Let me just read to you, put the thing into the frame. The Committee of Concerned Telco TSTT Pensioners and the company, they've been in this struggle over a pension, funds that are available. The matter is in court. We dealt with that on the last occasion. We spoke with these gentlemen. We'll get to both of them in a moment. Let me just read to you this statement that was put out just days ago. TSTT, in a desperate bid to control the over $1 billion disposable surplus in the telco pension plan, is prepared to leave pensioners in financial distress. It says, as the new year begins, the matter of claim number CV2024 to 02204 Ian J. Clark versus Telecommunications Services of Trinidad and Tobago and RBC Trust is scheduling for another hearing before the Honorable Madam Justice Quinlan Williams at the High Court in Port of Spain on February 7, 2025. After observing the conduct of the attorneys for TSTT since litigation commenced on behalf of approximately 1,500 pensioners, on the 17th of September 2024, the Committee of the Concerned Pensioners of Telco and TSTT has formed a clear view that TSTT is prepared to do the following. One of them is to take control of the disposable surpluses of both Telco and TSTT pension plans with total disregard for the legitimate interests and rights of the pensioners and former workers. Gentlemen, good to have you on this edition of the program. You say much more than that, but we'll get to that in a moment. But let's start with you, Mr. Zephyrin. You are secretary of this organization, the Telco TSTT, the concerned citizens of the Telco TSTT pension plan. Let's talk about what the current situation is that you wanted to highlight on this occasion.
First of all, let me say good morning to you, sir, and to thank you very much for having us on again today, and to let you know that the situation has not changed. There has not been a response that one can consider to be positive, no response at all in respect to the over $1 billion that we are talking about that is in surplus. And that is only in terms of the valuation that was done in 2021. Now, I think we need to start off by saying that between 1998 and 2009, there was a similar issue. Not that there was any begging or there was any asking for any monies to be paid. But between that period and time, the company did in fact make payments of 3% per year to pensioners and had increased the minimum pension from $500 to $1,294. Let us now look in terms of where we are at.
Yeah.
And I'm making this comparison on the basis that nowhere then was the surpluses that existed then can be compared to now. We are talking about a period of 2015, 2021. After the actuarial valuations, let me indicate what the surpluses were in the telco pension plan. 2015, $833 million. 2018, $771 million. 2021, $908 million, and that is in the telco plan. That is amounting to $2.5 billion. So we are at a loss. Why this company, why the executive of TSCT has not paid the same respect or continues not to pay the same respect to pensioners as was done between 1998 and 2009. So we continue the fight. It cannot be that the surpluses, which amounts to over $2.5 million, and I repeat it, should be left at the hands and the whims and fancies of a company to do what they want to do, especially in a case where the minimum pension at this point in time is nowhere compared to what the government gives out as a social services to its pensioners, old age.
I see here.
Let me stop here at this point in time.
I see here in some of the notes that you all have, you put out on the matter, pensions at the moment, most of them hang between $1,295 to $6,500 a month.
Yeah, but we do have pensioners in the context of the telco pension plan who gets from that plan as little as $356 to as much as $700. And the company is dead silent in respect to that aspect of it. Where is the purpose of a company or the commitment of a company to employees who would have brought them from a time where telco was publicly criticized to a time where they are now at the top of their game? They should pay recognition to the pensioners and pay them something. And we are asking for no different that what was paid between 1998 to 2009 to be paid between 2012 and the current time.
And what are the established rights in so far as you can determine what they are, the established rights of the workers in this matter?
Well, we go on the basis of precedents. The auditor's report does give 3 perspectives on what can be done with the surplus. One of that is that the company can reduce its contribution to the plan for the following years, and they have done that. In fact, the company has been where they were supposed to pay 10% on anything that would make the plan viable after that 10%, have now reduced their contribution to the plan of 5%. So they have gained. The other one is that they have recommended, and that is the auditors have recommended, the actuaries have recommended that the company can also use the surplus to do exactly what we are asking for. And in the context of the $1 billion that we are talking about, it would only cost the plan $400 million.
Yeah.
So we feel that that is one obligation, and the obligation to its pensioners that has been recommended based on the report of the actuaries, that the company should in fact bring on board.
Yeah. Among the things that you state here, as you accuse the company of taking certain positions and doing certain things and denying other realities as you all see them. One of them here, point 4, is that you're saying that the company's intention is to ignore the fact that the pension plans have a disposable surplus of nearly, is it $1 billion? And the pension increases which are being called for will only absorb approximately $400 million. as calculated in documents prepared by the actuaries Bacon, Woodrow, and D'Souza. He said, despite this, TSTT remains unwilling to agree to the increases in pensions.
Of course, and that is the major point. Why I do not go at the $1 million, I go at the precedents in terms of what happened between 1998 and 2009, as against what's supposed to take place between 2012 to 2025. And that is on the basis of the amount of stuff. It's not $1 billion, it's a cumulative amount in respect to telco pension plan of over $2.5 billion. So I am not looking at the $1 million, which they would have gotten from their actuaries report for 2021. I'm looking at the total period combined. And combined to pay us from that point in time, it would only cost the company $400 million. What therefore is holding them back? And that is the question that I ask. Are they?
What is the size of the people you represent in the matter, Mr. Zephyrin?
We represent over 1,000 pensioners at this point in time.
Yeah. All right.
These are the people who are suffering.
Let me bring Mr. Clark into it. So you are the union's representative appearing in the court. Let's talk a little bit about how are the matters playing out.
Okay, well, like my colleague indicated earlier on, Mr. Johnson, we wish to thank you very, very much for entertaining us on this critical matter of the telco TSTT pension plan. We must make mention to that because very often in Trinidad and Tobago, pensioners are often a forgotten demographic in the community and left to just drift. But coming directly to our situation at the court, at the first hearing of this matter, I must say also, Mr. Johnson, before I make this point, is that after almost 10 years of being ignored by the TSTT executive management, we had no other alternative, that's the committee, had no other alternative but to seek legal advice on this matter. And we approached the law offices of Dr. Claude H. Denbo, senior counsel, and Dr. Denbo agreed after he looked at our brief, he agreed that he would assist us as best as he can. So Dr. Denbo has been in our corner. He has stood with the pensioners up to this point in time, and he continues to do awesome work as far as we are concerned with respect to representation on behalf of the pensioners.
Yeah, and we see here that he's being assisted in the courts by Mr. Jerome Rajkumar and Mrs. Donna Denbo.
Yes, that is correct. A very powerful team who are very, very experienced in pension law and insurance law as well. So we are very confident that Dr. Denbo and his team will do justice for us. I mean, it's up to the court in the final analysis, but we are very confident in the capacity of the law offices of Dr. Claudius Denbo in assisting us.
Okay.
So coming directly to the question of the court.
Yes.
So the first hearing was held on the 17th of September, 2024. And at that first hearing, Mr. Johnson, in response to an inquiry from the Honorable Madam Justice Quinlan Williams, the attorneys for TSTT told the court that TSTT was hoping that the matter could be settled and that the company was open to a collaborative approach by both parties to determine whether the matter could be amicably resolved. That was the attorney for TSTT's comment or position to the judge when asked the question, what is TSTT's position on this matter? At the second hearing, to the astonishment of our attorneys and to the surprise of the judge in particular, instead of upholding the position that they articulated to the court at the first hearing, TSTT made an astonishing about-turn, and instead of pursuing a collaborative pathway to the settlement of the matter, TSTT presented in their defense paper, they presented a position which sought to strike out the claim of the pensioners altogether. Now, like I said, this came as a shock to all of us, because what TSTT did in that about turn from the first hearing to the second hearing, they did what was called a procedural technicality. They attempted to throw us out of the matter on the basis of a procedural technicality and not on the merits of the claim itself. And I must say at this point, Mr. Johnson, that our issue before the court is quite simple. As far as the pensioners are concerned, our just demand to have our monthly pension augmented or increased is in light of the significant disposable surplus in the telco pension plan in particular. So
you want to talk a little bit about what that procedural technicality was or is, and where it's at in terms of the company's attempts to.
Well, that is a matter that is yet to be articulated before the court, and I would not want to say much on that since the question is a legal question, and our attorneys will be articulating the pensioners' position. But what they did say is that the pensioners are neither an administrator, a trustee, and therefore we had no local stand-eye in the matter. But our attorneys are going to argue our position, and our position is that there is already precedent for pensioners to go before the court or to apply to the court to get an acknowledgement of their legitimacy with respect to the claims that we are making.
All right, you say it's illegitimate pay, but does that legitimacy, is that legitimacy not at issue in the matter, or that there is a legitimacy that you think the company simply is refusing to honor?
Yes, I think so. Because you see, Mr. Johnson, what we are doing, we are relying on the precedents already set by Justice Archie 20 years ago in the textile TSTT matter, in which a pensioner was allowed the privilege to take the matter of the textile pension plan issue before the court. And he was an ordinary pensioner. And what TSTT is now arguing is that we, our committee, cannot take the matter before the court because we are not a trustee, we are not an administrator, and so on. And that is a technical point that they are making, and we are saying our issue has nothing to do with procedural technicality. Our issue is a straight bread and butter issue. There's a disposable surplus in the pension plan of close to $1 billion TT dollars. As my colleague have already indicated, when the actuaries did the arithmetic, they said that our demand, which is a 3% increase in our pensions per annum, a minimum pension of $3,000, and of course there is an issue of a 1.5 refund of pension, which is also before the court as well. And the actuaries have already made it clear, after they did the arithmetic, that our demand will cost the plan $400 million. So the point is, Mr. Johnson,
yes,
that if you take $400 million out of $1 billion, you still have $600 million in the fund. So what is the company's problem in implementing those benefits for the pensioners? What is the company's problem? We suspect, and we cannot talk definitively on this, but we suspect that the company has a hidden financial agenda with respect to the surplus of the plan. And we are keeping a very close eye on that. because and our lawyers will advise us with respect to that particular issue. But as far as we are concerned, we are going full speed ahead. The question of the question of the surplus has to be shared with the pensioners, and I believe that our attorneys we are very confident in their ability to put appropriate evidence and arguments before the court to achieve a favorable outcome for the telco and TSTT pensioners.
All right, I want to come back on that because I want to ask how the fight is going to be continued on the question of how the company sees workers and workers' rights in this matter. If you're saying that if the company's position is what it is, that workers essentially, my reading of what you said there, that workers have no rights in the matter because there's no agency that the company wants to accept as being in the position to treat to this matter in the way. Mr. Zephyrin, give us a sense of the disposition of workers generally across the board, of retired workers generally across the board in this advocacy.
Well, I could only refer only recently where one of our comrades took his life and took his wife's life through suicide and then took his life. We see pensioners being very despondent, and I'll tell you one of the major reasons. The social grant given to pensioners is $3,000. The minimum pension here is $1,295. They are being advised, and our pensioners are being advised, that what they should do is to apply for the difference to the government of Trinidad and Tobago in a plan that has over $1 billion. And we are what I consider to be a dying breed. The persons that I have spoken about, who is getting between $300 to $700 as a pension from the telco pension plan, their age is between 80 to 95. I'm talking about 3 or 4 persons.
You say 300 a month to 700 a month.
300 a month? I didn't follow you, sir.
Yeah, is that what you said?
I'm talking, yes, I am talking in terms of the minimum the pension that they are getting from the telco pension plan.
So some
ranges between $300 to $700 a month. You
know. Who are the people getting the 6,005 then? I mean, one imagines it's a different range of workers depending on where you ended up on the spectrum, whether you were high up.
Definitely. It depends on where you are at the point in time, or what your salary was at the point and time that you would have retired at age 60. And therefore you would have had people in the early 60s. I would tell you that the gross salary where they were paying workers weekly was $39.27 a month. The monthly salary started at around $600 a month, and that would have been in the early 70s going on to the 80s. And if you were to retire then you would understand the level of pension that you would be getting now. I would also tell you that the actuaries, they had indicated that the lifespan of pensioners in their evaluation would have been 2 to 3 years after they retire. But we do have retirees, a lot of them, whose lives have been extended through God to 70 and 80 years. And of course, they have to face the same thing that workers or ordinary people have to face in respect to their health and welfare. You know, and of course, it mesmerizes me that this company, who appears or who want to say that they are a caring company, tend to throw these workers who would have brought them from where they are to where they were to where they are now down the drain. They are suffering. suffering badly.
Yeah, what is the extent to which you know that some of them continue to be exercised about this matter, and so it's not as though you're fighting a battle for whom the prospective recipients of the results are with you or provide enough sort of support, emotional and otherwise, for you to continue this fight?
But what I would tell you is that we have the full support of all pensioners. We do have a pension group which has about 180 members who has the ability to be able to come on. And we have been able to communicate with those on a practical sense who has not been able to utilize their computers. We have been able to send out, and we are using this forum as a means of advising all those who have not been able to come on that the fight is still on, and we are not going to let go of it. You must understand, I think we are clear that, like I said, we are of age. I don't want to say old, but we are of age. And therefore, the things that a person can do at this point in time cannot be compared to our limitations in terms of what we can do. So we have to use all ways and means to be in contact with our pensioners, to let them know that the fight is on, and the fight will go on until victory is ours.
Yeah, as they say in other societies, a luta continua.
You need to explain that to me.
The struggle continues.
Yeah,
Mr. Clark, yes, because I wanted to ask about, what's the sense you have of, putative dynamism among your legal team? What are they saying? What are those members saying? That's a high-profile team. The Denbos.
Of course, Mr. Johnson. Like I said, we have full confidence in our team of attorneys. The law offices of Dr. Claude H. Denbo, Senior Counsel, has been very good to us. The type of work that we have witnessed, they have done in this matter is tremendous, and we are confident that we will be adequately represented at the highest level at the court when the matter resumes on the 7th of February. Now, the question, Mr. Johnson, is that after years of contributing to a pension plan, pensioners have a financial right to fair treatment, right? Pension plans are actually designed to ensure that funding is set aside and made available for the future benefit of workers to maintain their standard of living and enjoy some measure of financial security in their retirement years. And this is what we are experiencing at this point in time. Now, well, I'm sure, Mr. Johnson, you were wrong, because we go back. We go a good way back, and you will remember the days when the Prime Minister of the country threatened to throw his phones in the Gulf of Paria.
Yes. You
will be well aware of that. And there was a point in time when, as we said in our last articulation of this issue, when the Calypsonian penguin embarrassed all of telco workers with the young telco poops, right? But the telco workers at that point in time, during the 70s and 80s, responded in a very positive way and grappled with new technology which was introduced by the company. There was exchanges, technological advanced exchanges, which were imported from Japan, that were installed in Nelson Exchange. There was also DMS exchanges, which were installed in all communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago, Arima, Marabella, St. Augustine, Point Fortin, all those areas were stocked with new telephone exchanges. And our pensioners, the current pensioners, were the ones who interfaced with that new technology and brought the system, grappled and transformed the telephone system into what it continues to be up to today.
All right, we're gonna have to leave it there. But let me just get from you, Mr. Zephyrin, when is the matter? When is the next hearing in the courts about this? I
believe it is on the 7th of February. But let me, in closing, let me just also thank the Communication Workers Union through its Secretary General for the great assistance that we have been receiving from them in respect to the fight that is ongoing. They have been very amicable towards us, and certainly on behalf of the CCPTT, I would like to offer my thanks to them, and we look forward to their continuous assistance in the struggle.
Anthony Zephyrin, Secretary of that organization, the Committee of Concerned Telco TSCT Pensioners, and Ian Clark, a former leader in the union representing workers. Now he's the workers' representative in the matter in court with the attorneys trying to get what they consider to be their just dues in the matter. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and we keep focused on the issue as it goes from episode to episode.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Ask 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
WESN